Hi everyone, Emery Parsons here from PDMG. I'm going to be taking you guys through another piece today. It's going to be a complete guide to selling on Amazon Handmade. We're going to talk about what the Amazon Handmade store is versus the Amazon Marketplace, the differences, all things like that. Okay, so let's get started. What is the Amazon Handmade catalog? So the Amazon Handmade catalog is different from the regular Amazon Marketplace catalog, as it's a separate catalog for selling only handcrafted items by artisans. Amazon Handmade is built into Amazon.com, but there's a separate shopping dropdown for handmade items. And then within that handmade shopping dropdown, there's different categories for different products you can shop for. Let's pop over to this other window really quickly, and I'll just show you what I'm talking about, how somebody might shop for something that's handmade. Okay, so if we just go to this drop down in Amazon where we can shop all of the products, and we just go over to handmade, and then, we can type in whatever it is that we're looking for. Maybe we're looking for a shirt, and then all the handmade shirts will come up, and you can see this blue icon and bar across the top. That lets me know that we are shopping in handmade. So I just wanted to show you guys that so you can kind of see like what it looks like to a customer that might be shopping. Okay, so is my company suitable for Amazon Handmade? If you're new to selling on Amazon and you want to go handmade, you'll need to apply through the Amazon Handmade process specifically. There's a separate application. If you already sell on the Amazon Marketplace and you want to start selling on Handmade, same thing. You're still going to have to go through the application process and create new listings. It's not as simple as just like checking a box on your current listings. It's a different application and a different profile altogether, even though it looks relatively similar to the customer. Okay, so the eligibility for Amazon Handmade. The products must be designed and produced by you, and they are definitely going to check this. The production may be able to involve like hand tools or light machinery if it's needed, but there's no like production on mass assembly lines, no automation technology. For the most part, it does truly need to be made by you. There can be no like outsourcing of production, no drop shipping, no reselling by third parties, no downloadable products, and you can't sell like food or electronics or anything like that on Handmade either. So you'll need to apply for the Handmade catalog, provide all your information, pictures to show that your product is in fact handmade, be within this eligibility. This is all called the maker application. And then Amazon will probably ask you like a whole variety of questions to ensure that you are meeting these requirements and to verify you. Okay, so if and when you get approved to sell on Amazon Handmade, you'll need to set up your maker profile. And this is a really great place to tell customers exactly how you make the products, showcase images maybe of how those products are made. And note that this is going to be different from like your brand store, which is only available once you're brand registered. Let's pop back over here really quick. And I'm going to show you like an example of the maker profile just so you can know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just going to type in something random, lotion. I'm just going to click on this right here, go to this listing. And then if you scroll down, this is where you can go in and view a maker profile. So this is what a maker profile looks like, a picture, descriptions, things like that. So you'll definitely want to fill out all of this information and make sure that it looks really, really good. Okay, so coming back over here. So like I said, the maker profile is different from the brand store, but a little PDMG tip, if you are applying to be brand registered, which you should definitely do if you think that you qualify, be sure that the brand name that you have listed in your maker profile matches the brand name that you use when you apply for brand registry. In Handmade, there's actually not a section in the back end of listings of like each product listing to list the brand name. You list it under the maker profile. That's something that's a little bit different between the regular catalog and the Amazon Handmade is you just list the brand name under your maker profile, and that's where it applies to all of your products. Okay, so fees. What do the fees look like for selling on Amazon Handmade? If your company is approved, To sell on Amazon Handmade, the professional selling plan fee is waived, which is nice, and there's no per item sale fee. So there's no transaction fees, no processing fees. Handmade will deduct a referral fee, which can be one of two things. It will either be a flat percentage of your total sale or a per item minimum fee, and whichever is greater is the one that's going to apply. Okay, so let's break this down. The referral fee percentage is 15% for all the categories currently in Handmade, and the minimum per item is $1. Okay, so if you think about this, most products are going to fall under that 15% flat rate because most of the time that's going to be the higher fee. An exception to that would be, let's say, an item maybe only costs $2, and because of 15% of $2 would only be like 30 cents, then Amazon's going to bump you to that $1 minimum. So, with the exception of extremely low priced items, you'll likely just have to pay the 15% flat percentage of each sale. Okay, so let's talk about scope and categories for Amazon Handmade. Okay, so the scope of selling on the Amazon Marketplace is not quite the same as it is in Handmade. With Handmade, you do still get access to, to the millions of Amazon shoppers, but there's only a few specific categories you can sell under. And then remember, like we talked about above, you can't sell food, electronics, downloadable products, which if you think about it, that makes sense. Those items probably wouldn't be handmade. But the following are going to be accepted categories that you can sell in Handmade. So you can see over here on the left, accessories, artwork, shoes and handbags, pet supplies, all these things. And just remember that you are going to have guidelines for selling in these categories. Handmade doesn't give you, the freedom to just do whatever you want. You have to follow the overall Handmade selling guidelines, like for the whole Handmade catalog. And then as well, you need to follow the guidelines for your specific category. So whichever of these categories over here on the left you're selling under. And if you're selling under multiple, then you need to follow the guidelines for all of them. Okay, so for example, if you're doing beauty and personal care, again, all your products need to meet the overall guidelines for Handmade. And then your products would need to meet the Amazon drug policy, the adult products policies, and the products must comply with Amazon's cosmetics and skin hair care policy. So you'll just need to, follow all those for beauty and personal care. And then the same goes for all the other categories. Okay, so now let's talk about customizable listings. This is something that's a little bit unique to Amazon Handmade. So one plus of the Handmade catalog is that you can add customizations to your products if you choose to do so. So personal customization for products is automatically enabled on the Handmade catalog. It's actually a different process on the regular catalog. You'll need to register first if you want to do customizations. So this means that in Handmade, you can offer customers the opportunity to customize a product beyond what a normal variation would be. A normal variation would be like color variations, like you have a shirt and it comes in 5 different colors. Customization is more specific. So an example would be like, a customer's adding in their initials to a product. Customization is like more of an advanced experience for customers, and a variation is really more for selling items that are like fundamentally the same. Like I said, a shirt in different colors, or another example would be a candle in different sizes. You can set up your products in a couple of different ways to do customization. Okay, so you can just do like a list of options. Like, for example, if somebody was choosing different fabrics, you can add a text entry box. So this, again, would be good for like engraving or initials. And you can do a number entry. So that would be suitable if you had custom dimensions for something that you were making. And just note that you can use all 3 of these options on the same product if you want to. It really just depends on how you want your products to be customized. So just think about this. If this is something that you want to do for your products, and if you'd want to set this up, you don't have to do it. It's totally optional. Okay, so another thing to remember is you can't ship FBA when you're selling customizable products. FBA is available for Amazon Handmade, but just anything that's customized will need to be fulfilled by you, the merchant. Another tip is it's probably a good idea to create a standard and custom listing for each product that you're doing customizations for, which means two different ASINs, a standard ASIN and a custom ASIN. And it's just good practice like to have a backup ready. Like you have a custom one with a custom option and one that's just standard with no customization. This can't be done by SKU in Handmade because you can't have multiple SKUs for the same product, only by the ASIN. So it's just a good backup practice to say, okay, I've got my ASIN for my product just standard as is, and then I've got a listing set up for my product with the customization options. Also, last thing with customizations, you might need to provide instructions for a customizable product, and just be sure that when you are setting up your listings, those instructions are really visible, especially on mobile. You wouldn't want to like end up with an error just because the customer like couldn't see your instructions for customization. So we just want to try to avoid errors there. Okay, so moving on to Handmade growth and listing optimization. Okay, so there's certain growth opportunities and ways to optimize listings with Handmade that might be different than the regular catalog, but we're going to break down like what's different and what stays the same, because some things, you know, continue the same on from the Amazon Marketplace, but some do not. Okay, so optimization, title and search terms are still super important, just like the regular catalog. One thing to note with Handmade is that customers can browse by occasion type and artisan location. So if you think that your product is specific to a certain occasion, like a wedding, you could check wedding under the occasion type section of the back of your listing. This is optional. If you feel like your product doesn't go under a certain occasion, you don't have to check that. But if it does, it might be a good idea. Images are super important when it comes to Handmade, so you'll still want to focus on those. Video, however, is a feature that has not been available in the past for Handmade. It's being added soon by Amazon. So if you are brand registered, because you need to be brand registered to do video, just check back on your listings because you may be able to add video in the future, but you'll just need to keep an eye. Brand registry, you can still do this on Handmade. It's absolutely a good idea to get brand registered if your company is able. This allows you to create A+ content and build a brand store, things like that. For Handmade, you can still do really great bullet points, really great product descriptions, advertising campaigns, all those things. One thing to keep in mind is that you can't rename SKUs in Amazon Handmade, so just make sure like whatever you're setting them the first time is really what you want it to be and that it is clear and it makes sense. So like if you were selling, you know, a 2-ounce bottle of lotion, you know, you put that in the SKU or however you want to do it. That's the best for your business. Just make sure it's organized from the start because they're going to be set in stone. And then Handmade, you know, doesn't support the reformatting of text for listings. Okay, so variations and parenting. So Amazon Handmade does support variation families for products, like we talked about above, if you have a shirt that has 5 different colors. But note, it's on a category level, so you'll need to check the categories that you sell under and see if they allow for a variation to be created. And they've been making some changes to this feature and what categories can have variations and what can't. So it's just a good idea to keep checking back on your variation families for your products and see if it's available for you. Handmade will still award top selling products with the bestseller badge, just like the rest of Amazon. So that's great. There's no build international listings tool for Handmade. You can sell in Canada, Mexico, Europe. You just need to set it up manually. Okay, other things just to kind of keep in mind. You don't need a UPC to sell on Amazon Handmade. That's something that's different. And just remember, like if you're new to Amazon and selling on Handmade, that Amazon customers expect fast deliveries. So you need to be prepared with your FBM listings to ship quickly, or maybe take a look at FBA. Amazon is still going to closely monitor your customer feedback, your on-time shipments, your on-time delivery, your customer messages, all of the things with customer service. So you still need to pay attention to those in Handmade. And Amazon Handmade does have a strict quality control standard, and that kind of is what makes it different, a different platform from other craft marketplaces, is they do have strict quality control. So just keep that in mind. Okay, tips for success here. Okay, so first and foremost, just use all the information above and determine whether or not your products are suitable for handmade. File uploads. Okay, so file uploads are a great way to ensure that listing changes that you might make go in correctly, but note that Handmade doesn't support file uploads for any customizable products, any shoes, or any apparel. So think really carefully about what you sell and if you need to be using file uploads on a regular basis. There are strict rules that exist in every category for Handmade. We kind of already talked about this, but just know that selling on Handmade doesn't give you the freedom to sell whatever you want. You need to still adhere to Amazon guidelines. And same thing applies to price. You don't just have free reign over pricing structure. You can set your prices at what you like, but you'll need to stay relevant with your competitors. And another thing, we kind of already talked about this. I mean, shopping in Handmade may not look that different to an Amazon customer as they browse online as it is built into the regular platform, but know that you are on a different setup than sellers that are on the regular Amazon marketplace. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Amazon FBA and Handmade. This is kind of our PDMG hack for the day. FBA for Handmade sellers is, still a great way to grow your business and provide a better experience for customers, ship faster. The fee calculator is the same as the regular catalog. So it's just a great way to do free and faster shipping to go FBA. But one issue with Amazon FBA and Handmade is that Handmade doesn't currently support multiple SKUs for the same ASIN. And we briefly touched on this above when talking about customizations, but what does this mean for your business and for FBA? This means that you can't have an FBM and FBA SKU under the same ASIN. Typically, it's best practice when you are shipping FBA to have an FBM backup SKU in case of issues. We do this with a lot of our clients. But in Handmade, in order to have a listing with both FBA and FBM and, sort of run this dual program, you would need to have two different listings with two different ASINs. But we don't recommend doing this. It's not a good solution because your reviews and your BSR history would not copy over to that new ASIN. It would just be on the old one. So it's not really a super efficient way to go. And it could just be confusing to look at two ASINs for two different ASINs for the same product. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we at PDMG have come up with a workaround for this issue. So items that are staying FBM will stay that way, no change needed. Items that you'd like to send FBA, we're going to walk through the steps here of how to set that up. So this is going to be, if this is your first time setting up FBA shipments under Handmade. Okay, so first, you just need to organize which products you want to go FBA, their respective quantities, all the shipment information. I like to just do this in an Excel sheet, with all my sizes, all my shipment information. Next, convert the appropriate listings to FBA. Then refresh, and once you can see and confirm that the listings are now FBA, now you can go and create your shipments. Now, at this time, before you start actually building the shipments, you're going to want to convert the SKUs back to FBM. So you've created the shipping plan, but before you start building, go back, switch the SKUs to FBM so that you don't have any downtime in selling. This is super important. You just don't want to be offline. Okay, so now that you flipped back over to FBM, you can begin packing and sending your inventory in to Amazon FBA. Flipping all the FBA listings back over to FBM is just a great strategy that allows you to continue to fulfill orders until the units arrive at the Amazon warehouse. Okay, next step. You want to keep a very close eye on your shipments and track your products. As soon as the units go into the receiving stage at Amazon, you'll be able to see this. Immediately flip the products back over to FBA. Inventory could get stranded if you don't take this step as soon as the units are received. Okay, so now you can keep your listings as FBA and continue to restock that way. You won't need to flip back and forth any further unless for some reason you went out of stock in FBA. I mean, of course, you're going to always be trying to keep products in stock, but if you go out of stock for some reason, just flip over to FBM until you get more quantities into Amazon, then flip back to FBA. Okay, so another little hack that we have for you guys, and the last thing we're going to talk about today is FBA restock limits. Did you all know actually restock limits for Amazon inventory get updated weekly, and it's based on your FBA sales. So if you see that some space is getting freed up on your restock limits 1 week, you should immediately take action and send more inventory while that space is still there because it could disappear. If Amazon notices that they gave you that extra space and you're not using it, it could go away. And another tip is if you really want to try to maximize your inventory space, we recommend really prioritizing the replenishment of your top sellers because they should always be selling and then continuing to free up your space. There should be a nice flow going there. Okay, so I think that about covers it for Handmade. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I will include links down at the bottom to our LinkedIn and to our blog. So be sure to check those out. Thanks so much.